At the turn of the century, when settlers gazed upon the southern plains, they had looked out over a vast expanse of shrubs and grasses. The land was green and lush, and the soil so rich, an observer noted that it looked like chocolate where the plow turned the sod. The newcomers did not realize that they were witnessing only a brief moment in an endless cycle of rain and drought. Yet boosters and promoters lured in farmers with the promise of heaven on earth.
You have railroad companies and states putting out advertisements encouraging people to think of this land as a bountiful land. The state of Kansas put out posters showing watermelons the size of small automobiles, grapes the size of bowling balls, corn that you had to pick by going up a ladder. And people were encouraged to believe that this was the Garden of Eden, if they would only have the courage to go out and challenge the land.
Thousands of eager settlers took up the challenge, bringing farming techniques that had worked well in the north and east. Confident of rain, unmindful of wind, they plowed mile after mile of virgin sod. With the outbreak of World War I, Washington wanted wheat. Wheat would win the war. With record high prices, the promise of the land was coming true. Millions of acres of grassland would feel the plow for the first time. The race was on to turn every inch of the southern plains into profit. Appearing like giant armored bugs creeping along the horizon, tractors came to the fields in the 1920s. With a team of horses, a farmer could barely turn 3 acres of prairie sod in a day. With a tractor, he could plow 50. The great plow-up was underway.
So everybody got him a John Deere tractor or an old International and really went to plowing this country. And my dad was no different than the rest of them. You know, he'd run that thing all day, and when the sun went down, why, he'd come in and do the chores, and I'd go run that tractor till morning. Dad would work it in the daytime. He'd have everything serviced, plow greased, everything ready to go. When I got my turn, all I had to do was just get on there and drive that thing.
With so much bounty flowing from the southern plains, outsiders saw an opportunity to make a killing and began speculating on wheat. Suitcase farmers, they were called. Eastern bankers, businessmen, lawyers, who put in their seed and went home till harvest season.
They produce good. It looked like it's just a great thing that would never end. So they abused the land. They abused it something terrible. They raped it. They got everything out they could. And we don't think, except for ourselves, and it comes down to greed. You know, we're selfish, and we want what we want, and we don't even think of what the end results might be.
I think that most of those people thought this is just what we might say hog heaven. It'll always be this way. So they kept breaking this country out. They plowed up a lot of country that should never have been plowed up. They got the whole country plowed up nearly. And that's about the time it turned off terribly dry.
Whirlwinds had always danced across the fields on hot, dry days. No one took much notice that these swirls of dust were growing thicker, taller, and faster than usual. Then, in the summer of 1931, the rains stopped. Wheat withered in the fields, leaving the land naked and vulnerable to the menacing winds. But no one was prepared for what was to come.
The winds unleashed their fury.